Phil, thanks for coming onto the program. This is the second time in a year that we actually know about this type of collapse happening there. Just talk us through the conditions that these miners are working under.
Well, the reality is the lives of these jade miners are simply not valued by those at the top of the jade trade. These are people who have traveled from all over Myanmar. These are migrant workers. Many of them are working in the tailings, going through the tailings of these open pit mines. There's no safety regulations. There's no regulation whatsoever. The only thing we really see is the rule of the gun by the Chinese mine owners and the Burmese mafia and others who work with them. And when it rains, these people are in these tailings, and there's landslides, there's mudslides. They are buried alive. Many of them will never know their names, and they may never recover their bodies. It's an absolutely horrible way to die.
And it really sounds like there's no rule of law in that area. But tell us about the state of Kachin itself. It's in the northern part of Myanmar. What's it actually like there? Which group is in control, especially in the wake of this year's military coup? What are the politics at play here?
Well, the jade trade in Kachin State is by far away the most lucrative in the state, and it's probably the most lucrative in the country. You are talking about the premier jade areas of the world. And there is a mad scramble for control of these areas. There are both Kachin ethnic insurgent organizations as well as Burmese military people who are in charge of these areas. There is payoffs galore, but there is very little attention to the lives and the conditions that people work under. And because these people are going there to trying to earn a basic living because they're so desperate, they, literally hundreds of them will be on the tailings of these mines trying to dig through and find a few small pieces of remaining jade that haven't been found by the big operators. And when it rains, these slopes are absolutely dangerous, and people are buried alive. And in this case, a mudslide that swept people away. I mean, this has happened time and time again, and nothing ever changes. It's still the same, just more people die.
It sounds fair to say that, like you said, nothing's ever going to change, even though Aung San Suu Kyi, when she came to power, she had promised to try to regulate the jade trade in some way. Is it fair to say that the people who have probably died this morning are never going to see justice, and that this cycle is just going to continue in Myanmar?
Well, it is certainly true that they will not see justice. Of that we can be certain. But it's also quite clear that some of the top beneficiaries are, for instance, former top military officials like Tan Shui and his family, or others who have made literally billions of dollars on the jade trade. So the money that is being taken out of Myanmar through the jade trade is not being returned in any way, shape, or form in terms of improvements of welfare or safety conditions or even compensation payments for people who have died in these mines. It's a clear example of a lack of justice. It's a clear example of a lack of accountability. And everybody, unfortunately, is benefiting from that, except the miners who are, of course, being swept away in these landslides on a regular basis.
Well, Robertson, thank you so much for unpacking that so well for us, live to us from Bangkok.